It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the best show that you'll ever know. It's the Dep Lewis Show. This is episode 66. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, February 11, 2024, a Super Bowl Sunday episode for you here on the Dep Lewis Show. So welcome. Hope you've been having a great week out there in the world. Hope everything's been going your way, and thank you for being here to listen to some talk about video games and much more. So that's what we're here to do. So get down to some quick business here at the beginning of the show to help me out. If you could follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere, like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell anyone who can press play on a podcast. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. That email box is open 24/7, 365. Send anything you want through there, and it might possibly get read on this show. And full episodes of Dep Lewis Show anywhere you can find a podcast. So places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. So Buzzsprout page is a great hub to find the perfect place to listen to the show every week. Clips of the show are on YouTube and TikTok. Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow. I'm sort of trying to stream a little bit on Thursday nights, maybe for an hour or two. So possibly check me out for that, and I will definitely alert the world on social media if I do so. And I've been trying to throw the stream on a little more randomly if I'm playing some games throughout the week, but targeting Thursday night a lot of times. So twitch.tv/DepLewisShow, and then patreon.com/DepLewisShow is the ultimate place to follow for a second weekly podcast exclusive to Patreon called the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. So I'll tell you more about this at the end, and that is exactly why you want to listen to this entire show and then get to the end to hear about that Patreon, because you're not going to want to miss it. So for today's show, I have a standard show for you here on this Sunday. We have 3 sections. The first section will be what video games I've been playing in the last week since I last talked to you. So I've been kind of consistent on the 2 games I've been mainly playing. And then I also got some multiplayer gaming in this weekend, so I'm here to tell you about that. And the mid-section of this show this week is what's going on around the video game world, the video game landscape. So I'm here to tell you about all the interesting things from the past week in the mid-section. And so for this week, we have a state of play, we have a beta, we have some game releases, we have some upcoming game releases, and then we have some rumors and things like that. So the mid-section is always really great and has some good information in there for video game fans. And then the final section of this show this week is the Miscellaneous Talk section, and that is the section where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So today I'm going to tell you about a Kickstarter that I've backed for a novel, and then we'll get into the worldwide world of sports. Since it's Super Bowl Sunday, we got the Niners versus the Chiefs going on today. So we'll definitely talk about some of that in the third section, and then we'll talk about the official teams of the Dep Lewis Show, since there are many of those, and there is some actual things to talk about with those teams this week. So have a great show for you. Say it every week, and hopefully I can produce on that statement today. So, just welcome to the show. That is what we're here to do. So let's get into it. I don't think I have anything to mention from last show in particular, so we're just going to get it right into what I've been playing. So what have I been playing? The first game I've been playing this week has been something I've been trying for the past couple weeks. It's something I'm trying to get better at, and I am not really making any progress. So that is NBA 2K24. I'm playing the basketball on basketball simulation on my PlayStation. I'm no good at this game. If I had to pick which video games I would say I have the most skills at overall, basketball would probably be one of them. I haven't played this game for any meaningful amount of time in the last few years. This is a game I kind of buy every year, maybe play a few games here and there, and that's really about it. But this year, I'm trying to use this as a great podcast game, since I love listening to podcasts and playing video games at the same time, and this is a pretty good game for that. So I've been back on the NBA 2K train, but I'm not having a lot of success, but I'm still trying. So I've been playing some online and some versus the computer. I dabbled with some online play over the weekend. I went 0-3 Friday night, so that was pretty tough. I had 2 close matchups and 1 loss. Having trouble scoring, having trouble playing defense. So that's pretty much the 2 main things in a basketball game that you're trying to do. But I do think I'm slightly getting better. So I think that's the carrot on the string right here, is slightly getting better at the game. And overall, it is pretty fun. So NBA 2K24 has been a positive experience, but I need to play probably more online. I think that's where I'm going to increase my skills and put up with the frustration of online opponents. You know, they really like to mess with you on there. They'll hit timeouts on you. They'll hit the pause menu for as long as they can. You can even hear their voice coming through sometimes. So I need to tweak some of the settings on there so I'm not having to listen to somebody yap at me while I'm playing a video game that I don't know. But the basketball is very fun. The online tier that I'm in right now, it's only allowing you to pick certain teams. And in this tier, the Hawks are one of the available teams. So that has been really nice to me, even though I haven't won a game with them. At least I'm most familiar with the Hawks, and that's my team in real life. So it's been nice to play as them, but I was having more success in Tier 1 with the Warriors. So NBA 2K24 overall has been pretty fun. This is a game I'm going to keep continuing to update the show on as long as I'm playing it. It seems like I'm on a pretty good run with this. There's not a whole lot to report, but just want to keep you up to date with what's going on with the 2K world and how it is. And there was a bunch of trades in the NBA trade deadline was last week, so those rosters have already been updated in the game, and it's fun to see the new guys out there. I already had to play against PJ Washington on the Mavs, and we will talk more about the worldwide world of sports at the end of this show. But as far as video games go, this is probably my favorite. Not this game in particular, but the NBA, basketball, probably my favorite sports franchise of video game history, if I had to pick one sport to play. So it's been good back playing the NBA. I don't really have too much else to say about it. I'm trying the online. I have 2 seasons going, one with the Hawks, one with the Pacers. And I might possibly start another season with one of the better teams just to keep trying to get better at this game. I've been using the practice areas and doing all I can to try to learn these people's shots, and I really need to try to play without. I've been trying to learn some plays in this game even, so I'm really, really working at this thing a little bit. So NBA 2K24 has been very fun, and you'll definitely hear me talking more about this game on future episodes of the Dep Lewis Show. Okay, so the main game that I have switched to in the last couple weeks to try to complete is something I'm playing on PlayStation 5, and that is Uncharted 4. So I am playing this through PlayStation Plus as part of that Legacy of Thieves collection. I really love the Uncharted franchise. I've completed the first 3 games, and they are some of my favorite games ever. And this was one I played back in 2016 when it released, but never ended up finishing it. So I still think I'm seeing content that I've seen before in this game, but early on I was skipping a lot of cutscenes because I was remembering a lot of the stuff. But at this point in the game, it's a little more unfamiliar, or I'm not remembering it as much. So I'm watching the cutscenes and really getting the full Uncharted experience. And this game's amazing. It's really hard to believe I haven't completed this game in such a long time. So it's good to be back playing this, seeing some characters I really like from back in the day, like Nathan and Sully. And then we got Nathan's brother Sam coming around causing some trouble. And all the other characters in this game are too. And it's just really fun. It's kind of lighthearted fun, but the gameplay is really good, and the story cutscenes are fun to watch. The game looks great. I wrote down it's very screenshotable. So often I'm going through this game and hitting, stopping what I'm doing and just taking a screenshot because it looks so cool. And I've even turned the subtitles off so I can get some more opportune times for taking screenshots. So it's been really fun, and I think it really speaks to how good this game looks. It is an old game, but it's running on the PS5, and this was a very impressive looking game back when it released. So it's still looking like that, and some of the scenery in it's really good. The water effects are really cool, and Nathan Drake looks really awesome, and he has this cool holster on with his gun on the side. Like they're really just nailing everything. We have the new Indiana Jones game coming out, and playing this again makes me want to possibly try out those Indiana Jones games because they have the same kind of, chutzpah to them or whatever. They're kind of going for some of the same things, and I've never really been too much of an Indiana Jones fan, or like a serious fan of Indiana Jones, but it might be a good mashup of some video game stuff that hasn't been done in a while, since Uncharted 4 has been done since, I guess, 2016, and I don't know if there's any plans to make another Uncharted, but I'm really enjoying the gunplay in this. I'm really enjoying the platforming, and I wrote down the cutscenes have been worth watching. Yeah, and I really do think I got pretty far in this game the first time trying it, so I think it'll take a while for me to get to what I haven't seen yet, but I think there's around 25 chapters or something like that. Maybe I'm on getting close to half, I think is where I'm at, but this game's been really fun. It is actually a pretty good podcast game because you're just going through doing the gameplay, and I've already seen some of these portions before. So I've been doing some of that, but it really is a good game to just hide behind some cover, pop up and shoot some people in the head, move along, go through a crazy platform sequence, watch a cool cutscene, come back out, get into a cool fight again, and repeat until the end. So just a really enjoyable experience. And Uncharted 4, I can put the official Dep Lewis Show stamp on Uncharted 4. It's been really fun, something I want to complete. I've been on the streak of completing some games since last fall, and I want to continue that trend. So I'm trying to tackle some of these smaller games like Uncharted 4. I think it's usually around 20-25 hours to complete, maybe not even that long. So definitely something I can do and definitely feasible. So hopefully we will be talking more about Uncharted 4 in the future and eventually talking about me completing this game. So I'll definitely keep you up to date on all my Uncharted 4 uncharting. Okay, so those have been the two main games. I think on the last couple shows I've been telling you about those, so that'll probably be the case for a few more shows at least with both of those games, and especially NBA 2K. I think I'm going to continue playing this for a good while until I possibly get into a fighting game or something else that can overtake like the podcast game category for me. And I've also been playing some stuff I want to tell you about here coming up. So other stuff going on. There's a million great games in the world, and it's easy to jump around to them like I do, because there's a million of them. But this week, I actually got together with some friends virtually and decided to play some video games. So I think we had 7 of us at one point even playing games, and we decided to try out Among Us. So, this game's from 2018, a little bit behind the 8 ball in trying this, but it's not very often that we get together and play multiplayer games. So just thought it'd be cool to try something new. This is available on multiple platforms and has cross-play. So you can play this on all platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, play it on your phone, play it on your computer, and you just have to accept your friends, type in your friend's friend code, and you can add them to your friend list in the game. So that was the only really big hurdle, but we were able to get everybody to sign up. Some did mobile. I purchased the game on PlayStation because I wanted to play on my console, and I think the game's normally $6 if you buy on a console platform. And it's on sale right now. If you're looking, it's under $4 until February 21st. So a good time to go pick up Among Us, especially if you have some friends that want to get together. And I don't think they have to be really into video games to want to play this. And it's a cool kind of different experience is what I found out. So this was my first time playing it. I've definitely seen a little bit of gameplay over the years of people playing this, but it's just never been something that really caught my interest too much of something I'd want to play. I know this was kind of a phenomenon back in the day of everyone playing this game, but just getting to it now is fine too. So I want to tell you that because it was a cool experience. So let's see. I'll tell you more about some of the nuts and bolts of the game. It's a 2018 online multiplayer social deduction game, so like a whodunit, and developed and published by American game studio Inner Sloth, and they have a really cool logo. I've been definitely calling out some video game logos recently, which have been cool, and I guess it's pretty bad if you don't have a cool logo as a video game company, but a lot of these recently that I've been running into have been especially cool, so I just want to point that out. And this game was inspired by the party game Mafia, which I'm not familiar with, and the science fiction horror film The Thing, which I've definitely heard of but never seen. So the whole gist of this game is you can play with 4 to 15 people at a time, and you are all on a spaceship, and you can pick the number of imposters. So there can be 1 to 3 imposters amongst everyone. So we had 7 of us. There was 1 imposter. You'd start the match, and you all land on the ship, and there's various tasks that you're assigned to do on the ship. So you have to go around and do your tasks, because ultimately if you can get the ship to take off, that is how you win the game. Or if you're able to determine who the imposter is, that is how you win the game as well. So there's multiple things going on. At the beginning, you can't really trust anybody, so you just want to kind of stay away from people and go around and start completing some of your tasks, but you're always watching your back, and the imposter can pop up, and I think they knife you is how they kill you, and then your dead bodies just land on the ground, and when someone comes across you, that is when everyone gets alerted that a murder has occurred. So this game was really fun. We had 7 of us. We were all on a phone call outside the game, and we just said that whenever you get murdered, you can't say anything. I forget what our rule was, but it was when you come across the dead body, you can alert everyone, but you can't just come out and say, hey, we don't want to spoil the murder. I'm trying to remember exactly what our rule was, but I think you kind of need to determine those if you're talking on a call outside the game, but because you don't want to like if I get knifed and someone else sees me get knifed, they can just say, oh yeah, it was person X that is the murderer. They could tell everyone on the call, and then we all get together and vote that person out. So we made it so you have to just use your vote as your way of saying who it is, instead of speaking up and telling everyone that. So that was our way to keep it interesting over the phone call, so we could all be, talking smack and whatever while we were playing the game. So it was very fun. I did get to be the imposter once, and I immediately started trying to kind of knife someone, so I wasn't a very good stealthy imposter, but I did get a few kills under my belt, and I won a game with, there was a game with 2 imposters, and we actually won. We just were taking everybody out pretty quickly, so I think for 7 people, 1 imposter is probably the way to go. But let me tell you some more basic nuts and bolts about the game. So it's available on all platforms. It is free on mobile, so that was a really good selling point for trying this out as a group, that you didn't have to make any type of money commitment if you wanted to try it. But a couple of us did pay the $5 and get it on console, and we were all able to connect pretty easy, or very easily and seamlessly, and not a problem at all there. So that's a pretty cool selling point for this. Supports 4 to 15 online players, cross-play enabled across PC, mobile, and other consoles. You do need online access to play on Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. So you have to be subscribing to whatever service they have to give you online play on those platforms to be able to play this online. So that's another little bit of a cost outside of mobile being completely free. And then the back of the box talk on this, I think I've pretty much described all of this, but this will just give you the good summary from the game makers about what the game is. So they're saying use teamwork, persuasion, and maybe even betrayal in this unique online party game in space. Prepare for departure, but beware the imposter. Complete tasks to hold your spaceship together and return to civilization. But keep an eye out, as 1 or more random players among the crew are imposters, determined to sabotage the ship and kill everyone. It's up to the remaining humans to finish their tasks and identify the imposter to eject them into the abyss. But watch out. The imposters will use every trick in the book to convince everyone they're a crewmate, so don't believe everything you hear. Get your alibi straight, or else you might be the one wrongfully ejected. And that happened a couple of times during our playthroughs, where we voted to kick the wrong person out and they got kicked off the spaceship, and they really do eject them into the abyss. So they're just not able to continue playing that playthrough, and they are a ghost in the Among Us world. So that was pretty funny. And having being on the phone call to hear the person who got kicked out, cursing us or whatever, or calling us stupid, is definitely an added element to the game. So I think overall this game was pretty great and fun, and I can consider this a success, and I think we'll probably play it again at some point. So really good thing to know out there. Very low commitment to get into it. The games maybe are around 10 to 15 minutes long, sometimes even shorter if you have like a knife happy imposter. But a really good, enjoyable time, and a low barrier of entry to try it. So I think that's a pretty good sell, especially for older gamers in the world as myself, or older people with stuff going on that can't just play video games all the time. But really, really fun, low commitment, and Among Us, I can definitely put the Dep Lewis stamp of approval on that game now. So on the same night, we played some games for a couple of hours. It was pretty fun. And then we also got into some Mario Kart 8. So I haven't played this game in a long, long time. I love Mario Kart. I've definitely played every Mario Kart, kind of the same as NBA 2K, just to varying degrees, but I played every one, go through ebbs and flows of playing them a lot, and it was fun to get back into the Mario Kart. So we took our crew over to Mario Kart after the Among Us battles and played some games there. I actually won one of the tournaments, and then a friend of the show, Samvi, won one of the others. I think that's all we played, minus maybe a couple just random races at the beginning. But Mario Kart 8, everybody knows that game is amazing. It's one of the best-selling games. I was going to say on the Switch, but it probably is one of the best-selling games of all time. And I'm back to playing some of this game solo, too, now. So I've been going through some of the races just by myself, trying to complete them and get the trophies. So this is another good podcast game. So it's nice to have another one of those in my arsenal right now. And I'm an Isabelle main from Animal Crossing. She's one of my favorite characters in all the video games, Isabelle. She's really cool. So it's fun to have a game where I can play as her, driving around. And I kind of want to buy the expansion pack courses. This game pretty much has every course in it from all Mario Karts of all time. And you can buy the expansion pass right now. They were selling the expansion pass and then releasing the courses in waves, but that has been done over the last couple of years. So if you buy the DLC pack now, you can have all the courses at your disposal right away. So that's a pretty good selling point. And it's really, really cool to to possibly have all the courses in this game. So kind of the Mario Kart 8 Ultimate of the Super Smash Brothers world, but something I could see myself buying, especially if I keep playing some here and there. It's definitely a very relaxing game and something you can play, early in the morning or if you're about to go to sleep or with friends. So it's just a really good game for pretty much all settings. And I could even see myself playing some more online, trying those out races even by myself. So Mario Kart 8, a little bit back into that. You could hear me talking more about this on future episodes of the show. So I like to have some games that I have consistently going and then try to have a game where I'm trying to finish the story and complete. So it seems right now that I have NBA 2K going as my ongoing game, and then possibly Mario Kart 8, and then Uncharted 4 is my main story game I'm trying to complete right now. And I think I'm getting close to the halfway mark. So a lot of great games. I'm really thinking about how I haven't played any new games this year. So I think last year, being the full official calendar year of me doing the show, I was trying to try a lot of new games and not playing a whole lot of them, or playing a whole lot of just a few of them. So this year I've really been trying to hold off on buying new stuff and play through some of my backlog and talk about it and play some of these games I like to play that are like ongoing games. So that's what I've been trying to change up this year. I've been pretty successful with it so far. I've completed a few games. I've completed Spider-Man, at least this year, is the only one I know I've completed from last year. I think one more in there too, but Forza, I've officially completed that. So I have a pretty good string of completing stuff going, so I think I'm tackling this the right way as far as enjoying this hobby of mine and good stuff to talk about here on the show. So in this first section of the show, I told you about what I've been playing in the last week since I last talked to you. I've been playing NBA 2K24, been playing Uncharted 4, played some Among Us with some friends, and also played some Mario Kart 8 with some friends. So really great week of video gaming, and I'll be back next week on this show to tell you more about what I've been playing, as I always do. So that is going to wrap up the first section of this show. We're going to take a quick break. You're going to hear some lovely break music from friend of the show, Volness, and then we're going to come back for the midsection of the show and talk about the video game world, the video game landscape, all the news that's been going on in the last week, and things that I think are interesting and worthwhile to know. So, if you don't want to be not in the know about the video games, don't listen. But if you want to know what's going on and have a great time, come back to the midsection of the show in just a few. Welcome back to the midsection of the best show you'll ever know, the Dep Lewis Show, episode 66. And this is the midsection where I tell you about all the video game news that I think is interesting from the past week and that I want you to know about. So let's get into it, because there's a whole bunch of stuff to talk about this week. We've had some showcases of some games, we've had some releases, and we have some upcoming releases to talk about. And then in the end, we're going to end with talking about the rumor mill. There's a lot of stuff going on in the rumor mill as far as Xbox and Nintendo go, so we're going to get into that at the end of this section as well. But let's start off with a showcase that happened at the beginning of the week, and it was a state of play, you might call it. And that's exactly what Sony calls it. It was a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth state of play, and this took place on February 6th, 2024, and you can go watch the archive now on PlayStation's YouTube channel, or a lot of outlets did like a talkover stream of it, so those are always fun to go check out as well. So look out for that. I believe MinMax did that, and they're a great video game outlet to support and watch. So there's around 1.3 million views on this video right now. I think the trailer, I'm going to look it up on the show. I don't normally do this, but I think it was around, let's see how long it was. Around 27 minutes, it looks like, maybe a little bit shorter than that. So this was a state of play for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth exclusively. So the state of play reveals the latest trailer highlighting the charms of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, launching soon on February 29th, 2024. So in a couple weeks from now, if you're listening in real time. And a gameplay video showing how the game has been designed with new footage. So after escaping from the Mako-powered city of Midgar, Cloud and his friends have broken the shackles of fate and set out on a journey into untracked wastelands. New adventures await in a vast and multifaceted world, sprinting across grassy plains on a chocobo and exploring expansive environments. So this is going to be one of the bigger releases of the year, definitely one of the bigger exclusives of the year. And the first game, Final Fantasy VII Remake, was a very critically acclaimed game, so this one should be tracking to be one of those as well. And the other cool news that came out of this is there is a demo out for this game right now. So go check that out. It's showing off an early chapter of the game, and And if you actually complete this part of the game, you can skip that when you purchase the full game. So as long as you still have that save on your console, it's going to recognize that and give you credit for the progress. So I think that's a pretty cool option, and definitely worthwhile to go try the demo out. I have decided at this moment I'm not going to try the demo since Final Fantasy VII, the first part, I've been trying to play through some of that, and I've never completed it. So I would want to do that before trying Rebirth. So I could put Rebirth possibly into the category of game I want to buy a physical copy of and play it at some point. It's probably what I'm going to do for this in the near future. So this is something that I definitely want to hear the world's reaction about and see how. I'll probably watch some video of this game and see what people are talking about, because it's going to be the talk of the town in the video game world for a while. So hopefully this game will live up to the lofty expectations, and very cool. If you want to go try it out right now, go play the demo of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Demo out right now. A great state of play last week, showing off some information from the game if you even want to see some information from this game. I heard it was on MinMax. They were talking about how, who wants to see all this stuff, and we've already seen enough of the game. But the opposite argument was that this is a sales team doing their job. So the reason they're doing their job as a sales team, if we're all feeling that way and still gonna play it. So it's not like something we're being inundated with information we don't want. It's something that you can avoid, or you can watch and get hyped for the actual release. I think is how they are taking it, and how you should probably take it out there as well. But just an exciting thing, and there's been a lot of great releases early on in the year. So that trend is continuing in a couple weeks with this game. So, and we have more games to talk about coming out too. So very cool time to be a video gamer. All right, so that was the state of play for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and then some more PlayStation news. They have announced a PlayStation 5 beta. I believe this is available in select countries and regions right now, and it's announced on the PlayStation blog. They announced this on the same day, February 6, 2024, and this is going to add DualSense controller sound enhancements and share screen interactions. So here's all the points that they are updating here. Some of the stuff with the controller and speaker is definitely a good idea, because I used some of this over the weekend. I was streaming some 2K and trying to use the speaker controller and not finding it to be the best option. So hopefully some of this stuff will help, and I have some recent experience trying it out, so I'll be able to understand the differences more likely, I think, at this time. So that's pretty good timing and lucky timing for me. But they are updating the device software on the DualSense and DualSense Edge wireless controllers to improve their sound features. Controller speaker enhancements. The controller speakers can now produce higher volume sound, allowing you to hear in-game sounds and voice chat audio more clearly. Improved noise cancellation. I think this is an interesting feature. The mic input quality on these controllers has been improved, courtesy of a new AI machine learning model. Background noise from button presses and game audio are suppressed, resulting in a better voice chat experience. So that's a very cool enhancement, and thought to make the sound they have better just by canceling out some of the negative sound. So install the system software beta and update controller device software to enjoy enhanced clarity of your voice chat audio when using the controller mic. And with this update, this has been the funniest. This is straight from their blog press release, this information. So this was the funniest sentence in here, I thought. It says, with this update, you may feel that the sound coming from your controller speaker may sound louder. You can adjust controller speaker volume from the control center. So they're really trying to get ahead of people saying, hey, this is loud. And they had to come in here and say, you can just turn the volume down. So I think it's funny that there probably is a subsect of people that will get mad about that. But that's kind of the whole gist here of getting the sound to be louder and more clear. And then you can adjust the sound down if you like for it not to be as loud. So that's something they had to spell out for you here in their press release. So pretty good, but pretty, they're being very descriptive here. And then the share screen stuff. So players watching share screen in full screen mod can now use pointers and emoji reactions to interact with the host gameplay. So they are pretty much picking up this is a feature of a lot of social media applications and things like that, of being able to comment, or like Twitch and things like that. So they're kind of catching up with some of those kind of things. Viewers can move a pointer around, send a ping, or draw a line on the shared screen, allowing them to highlight certain objects or areas to guide the host player more accurately. Viewers can send emoji-based reactions to the host screen to visually encourage and celebrate gameplay actions. Note, because that's what everybody on the internet always does. All they do is encourage and celebrate. So this is a feature to allow you to only, that is going to just amplify the amount of encouragement and celebrations going on across the world, especially for people you don't know. And this feature is available by default, but can be turned off by the host in the share screen settings. Both the host and the viewer must be participating in the beta to use this feature during the beta period. And you can now adjust the brightness of your PS5 console's power indicator. So I don't even remember typing that here, but that's a pretty good option for something, because a lot of times if you're in your room at night, one of the only things that can be beaming is that indicator on your PlayStation 5 or on your console. It's just a very common occurrence. So PlayStation 5 beta, mainly enhancing some controller speaker stuff, and the share screen interactions are the two main things. But it's always cool when they're adding additional features to the basic UI, and more options are good if, all the basic things are good as well. So no gripes here. So PS5 beta, I will update you if I see this come through on my system to download, but I don't know when it's going to be available to everyone or how they're rolling it out, but it is something on the horizon from what we're being told. So let's get into some video game releases of the past week. So there have been, let's start with the first one. I want to go by release date, but my notes are in incorrect order. So the first one I want to tell you about is a game called Foamstars. And this is something I'm a little bit, I don't know. I'm a really huge Splatoon 3 fan, so this game rubs me a little bit the wrong way. Not that there's anything wrong with this game, but it is basically the PlayStation version of Splatoon 3. So you're kind of doing, and it's nothing like a copy, but it's just basically the same mechanics. So this game, they're telling you to get ready to join the foam blasting frenzy in the new 4v4 foam party shooter as you blast through battles using foam to attack, build, and defend. So this game released on February 6, 2024 for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. It's $29.99 for the standard edition, but this is also available through PlayStation Plus. And I think this might end on March 5th for being able to get it through PlayStation Plus, but don't quote me on that. But if you have PlayStation Plus right now, you can play this game immediately for free, but you can also purchase it for $29.99 if you want to own the game in perpetuity, if that's the correct word there to use, but hopefully you know what I mean. And in addition to 4v4 competitive matches with multiple game modes, take on missions to protect Bath Vegas from an onslaught of bubble beasties. So fight solo and learn more about the characters in Foamstar mission, or work together with up to 3 friends in squad missions. So this, the basic gameplay of Splatoon 3 is very fun. So that lends me to think that this gameplay could be fun. But it also brings up the argument, why would I not just play Splatoon 3? Is this game doing anything way better than Splatoon 3? I don't know. So that would kind of be the one thing I would want to inquire about, but I just don't have too much hope for it. But definitely something to try if you don't have a Switch and you want to play something like Splatoon 3. It might be worthwhile. I watched Jeff Gerstmann play a little bit of this, but I think I've tried to watch a few people play this, but something about the art style doesn't really captivate me, and I just think I have a huge bias against this game already, so I'm probably not the best person to speak about this game. But it is something that I can download for free. I do have PlayStation Plus right now, so it's something maybe I should try a match, but I don't know. It might just be kind of a skip for me, but it is out now. It is a PlayStation exclusive, so that's kind of cool, especially if you're a PlayStation fan, and something you can play right now. So Foamstars is out right now, so go check it out. All right, another game that has been released that is primarily, well, I guess this one is all multiplayer focused too, kind of like Foamstars, and this is HellDivers 2, and that released on February 8th, 2024 for PS5 and Windows for $39.99. So we're talking another PlayStation release pretty much, unless you have a PC. And HellDivers 1 is not something I'm too familiar with. I have learned that, that game came out in 2015, so it's been a long time. And 2015, HellDivers was a top-down shooter. So this HellDivers 2 is a third-person shooter developed by Arrowhead Game Studios and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. And this is a multiplayer video game. So this is what they're telling you about the game. So here's a little bit of the background. So enlist in Super Earth's premier military peacekeeping force today. We are heroes. We are legends. We are HellDivers. And then they want to sell you. This is like trying to get you enlisted as a HellDiver right here. So this is, if I want to get a job as a HellDiver recruiter, this will be my practice for it. Do you believe in freedom? Can you stand in the face of oppression and defend the defenseless? Wage war for peace. Die for democracy. Join forces with up to 3 friends and wreak havoc on an alien scourge, threatening the safety of your home planet, Super Earth. step into the boots of the HellDivers, an elite class of soldiers whose mission is to spread peace, liberty, and manage democracy. And I had to look up what managed democracy meant after reading this. So I've learned that guided democracy, also called managed democracy, is a formally democratic government that functions as a de facto authoritarian government, or in some cases as an autocratic government. Such hybrid regimes are legitimized by elections that are free and fair, but do not change the state's policies, motives, and goals. And this was according to Wikipedia, I believe, but basically makes sense after reading that. Managed democracy or guided democracy sound kind of like the same thing. So there's a little bit of a learning experience in here for me for the video game world. And so spread peace, liberty, and manage democracy using the biggest, baddest, and most explosive tools in the galaxy. HellDivers don't go planetside without proper backup, but it's up to you to decide how and when to call it in. Not only do you have a host of superpowered primary weapons and customizable loadouts, you also have the ability to call on stratagems. And I had to look this word up too. And I mean, it has the base word of strategy in there, so that makes some sense, but just being called stratagems, they're really trying to get some words in here for you. But a stratagem is a plan or a scheme, especially one used to outwit an opponent or achieve an end during play. So maybe I'll be using the word stratagem on a future podcast. But I gotta say, HellDivers 2, from hearing the spiel about it and reading about it and seeing some pre-release, wouldn't be something I'd be interested in. But it looks pretty fun for the most part. And multiplayer online shooters aren't something I really play too much anymore, especially not something like this where it's like a squad of people trying to go complete missions out in the world. I just don't really have a crew for doing that, and not really something I'd want to be doing myself either, or spending a lot of time doing. But it looks pretty cool. I like the guys. I like the look of the game and the look of the HellDivers and their capes, and the gameplay actually seems pretty cool, and it seems like it's doing some interesting stuff. So I think if this genre of game is something you like, it might be worthwhile to check out. And it's not a full price release, which is nice too. And I haven't really heard anything too terrible about it. I watched Nextlander play some of this with Will Smith, not the slap happy one, but the video game or the tech Will Smith, and they seem to be having pretty fun with it. And I watched a good bit of their stream, and overall this looks like an enjoyable game to get some friends together and go shoot some things and just be in a cool world. So HellDivers 2, not too much to say about it, but overall it looks pretty cool and just not something I think I'll try out myself. So let's get into, so those have been the two games that have come out in the last week. So a couple multiplayer games for you on PlayStation primarily have been the two big releases from last week. And then we have some upcoming releases in February, and these actually come out, both of these come out in the upcoming week. So if you're listening in real time, in the time between this show and the next Dep Lewis Show, you can go buy these two games I'm about to tell you about. So let's get into those. So the first one is Tomb Raider 1 through 3 is getting a remaster starring Lara Croft. I read that, I think that's the way it's listed on PlayStation Store, so I think that's pretty funny. It says starring Lara Croft because you would just kind of assume so, but this game releases on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2024 for $29.99, so not a full price game here. So that's always nice to have. You know, the video game industry does a great job of giving you full price games that are amazing and non-full price games that are amazing. So it's nice to be able to, you can balance your budget and balance your catalog with different styles of games. So it's just nice to have the options. This remastered of Tomb Raider 1 through 3 is coming to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. You can discover Lara Croft's original adventures lovingly restored. You can play the original 3 Tomb Raider adventures for the first time ever. Play the complete experience with all expansions and secret levels on modern platforms in this definitive collection. So this includes all the games plus their DLC or expansions that come along with them. So I think that's pretty nice. I don't have any history playing these games. I think it's a cool franchise. I know it's very popular, and it's always cool to get these collections. You know, I like getting these collections for franchises I like. So got to be some really happy Tomb Raider fans out there, and hopefully it can bring some new fans to the franchise is what they would hope as well. So this includes Tomb Raider 1 plus Unfinished Business is the expansion or DLC content, Tomb Raider 2 plus Golden Mask, and then Tomb Raider 3 plus The Lost Artifact. So their back-of-the-box spiel is solve ancient mysteries, uncover treasures of the ancient world by solving puzzles, and unraveling mysteries lost to the ravages of time. Globe-trotting adventure, follow Lara Croft around the world and face off against deadly foes and dangerous myths. Lovingly restored, experience the classics boasting upgraded graphics with the options to switch to the original polygon look at any time. And that is a welcome addition to any remaster by my book. I love being able to switch between the two graphic styles and check them out. It's really, really impressive, and sometimes even the old graphical style is what you want to play. So it's just a nice option and a very cool thing that a lot of these developers and studios do these days. So very cool. So Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered starring Lara Croft releases on Valentine's Day, 2/14/2024 for $29.99. Okay, and another game that comes out a little bit later in the week, I believe this is Friday, and this is Mario vs. Donkey Kong. And this releases on February 16th, 2024 for $49.99 for Nintendo Switch. So another non-full price game you can add to your arsenal. Demo available for this. Donkey Kong there's a demo available for this right now. So that's something that I need to try, because this is a game I'm not all the way sold on. I think it looks cool. I just don't know if it's worth dropping $50 for, but something I'm interested in. I kind of want to hear the reception to it, and knowing there's a demo, that is something I need to go download, at least get it on my console today. So the back of the box talk on this is Donkey Kong has stolen all the mini Mario toys from the factory, and it's up to Mario to get them back. Run, jump, and backflip your way to retrieving them across over 130 levels in this puzzle-style twist on classic platforming action. So a little bit of the puzzle-style twist is kind of what does not sell me on this game. I'm not the greatest at puzzles. They kind of frustrate me pretty quickly, and just not one of the bigger game mechanics I like for whatever reason. And they're saying the rivalry that originally heated up on the Game Boy Advance system returns on the Nintendo Switch system, with newly added co-op play, brand new worlds, updated music and visuals, and other new ways to play. So this is a repackaging of an old game with new content added into it, is how I'm taking this. So if you have played this game in the past and really love it, this could be the perfect updated new version for you to get. So please check that out. So you can puzzle your way through over 130 levels, and they want you to put your brain to work and figure out the best way to reach the mini Mario toys and puzzle platforming challenges across 8 distinct worlds. Watch for enemies, dodge hazards, and use the tools scattered around. See if you can earn a perfect rating on each level. So Mario vs. Donkey Kong coming on February 16th, 2024, $49.99 for the Nintendo Switch. So I've seen some pretty cool ads for this game. I'm a huge Mario fan, a huge Donkey Kong fan. I just don't know if I'm a huge puzzle fan to sell me on wanting to play this game, but definitely looks cool. Definitely interested in seeing what people say about it, and I think you should check it out for yourself. All right, the last game I want to talk about is actually something that's available now. Not something I think I want to play, but it's definitely a game from one of my favorite franchises, so I wanted to tell you about that in case this is up your alley, and that is Elder Scrolls Castles. So this is a new mobile game in the Elder Scrolls universe, which is Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, some of my favorite games of all time. I feel like I was missing one in there, but I don't think so. And this is a new mobile game now available in select countries and regions. You can download on the Apple App Store or get it on Google Play. And they are saying that they're excited to finally share the Elder Scrolls Castles, their new mobile game from the team behind Fallout Shelter, which is very successful. And the team has been hard at work on it for the last few years, and we absolutely adore it. And that's what Bethesda said in the tweet. So you can't believe it, that they really adore a game that they're releasing to the public to sell for money. That's very surprising. In Castles, you build your own dynasty where every day in our world is a year in the game's world. Citizens are born, they die, rulers change, and can be betrayed. This soft launch is one of the first steps as we get your feedback and make changes before it launches worldwide. So a little bit of a early access kind of beta mode, I guess, for these select regions and countries. But I think this game's been getting pretty positive feedback. I'm not really a mobile gamer myself, so not something I'm really too interested in, but the art style and everything I've seen like selling this game, and even like I'm saying, just a few screenshots I've seen look cool, and the art style and all that kind of stuff looks neat. And having a kind of like Civilization style game in the Elder Scrolls world seems like a great combination if you're into that type of game. So just wanted you to be aware that this is out, and Elder Scrolls Castles is out in select countries and regions right now. All right, the last game. So a lot of early year time, I'm looking over the calendar for the year of what's coming out. So a lot of these I'm trying to make you aware of games that are coming out recently, and then sometimes even just putting a game in your mind and keep it in my mind for later in the year. So this is one of those games. This game doesn't have an official release date, but It's slated to be released in late 2024 or even 2025, and that is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. So this game got announced maybe a couple months ago, and I guess there was a new gameplay trailer. No, I don't know if there's anything new. I just wanted to tell you about this game to keep it on my radar as well. So I thought the release date was announced, but they've actually just said late 2024 or even 2025. So not a strong commitment there, but you never really want a developer to release a game until it's ready anyways. So it's really kind of a moot point. They need to release it when the game is ready. So this takes the legendary gameplay of the Budokai Tenkaichi series and raises it to whole new levels. Learn and master an incredible roster of playable characters, each with signature abilities, transformations, and techniques. Unleash the fighting spirit within you and take the fight to arenas that crumble and react to your power as the battle rages on. Shake the earth, break the heavens, make yours the destructive power of the strongest fighters ever to appear in Dragon Ball and breathtaking 3D fights. So I'm a pretty huge fan of the Tenkaichi series from back in the day, and I think it could be fun to see that franchise revitalized and set to modern standards. And it'll be something I want to check out. I would say if I had to bet some money on if this is going to be good or not, I would possibly say no. I would think it kind of be mediocre, but I think it could be a really big success if it's in between mediocre and really good. I don't think this game needs to be the best game ever because it's a little bit fan servicey for the most part. But the old Tenkaichi games, the combat was really fun. Some of the story stuff on the map was fun, and it really is just fun to see all the characters and play as them and fly through the world. Even though the worlds in these games are often pretty barren, and if they can increase some of that, I think that would be pretty amazing. So we will see what they're doing here with Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which has an exclamation after sparking. So very interesting for titles out there, and something that I feel like is a little bit hard to remember. So that can't be too good of a thing, but it could just be me. But Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, just want to make you aware of it out there in the world and keep it on my mind and radar too, because it's something I most likely want to try when it comes out. So the last two things we're going to get into is a little bit of gossipy stuff, a little chatty patties, a little bit of I don't know other words for gossiping, but here's the hot gossip going on with Xbox. So there's been a lot of rumors this week that Xbox games are going to be coming to other platforms. So games like Starfield and even future games like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and future releases. So this kind of has Xbox, I don't know if it has Xbox people up in arms. I don't know if people are too shocked by this. There's already some precedent for exclusives coming to other consoles, but with Xbox it is a little bit strange because they don't have too many exclusives that you look to them for anymore, and putting those on other platforms could be a little bit of a signal change or a shift in their business. They're basically just trying to, I think there was a couple months last year or all last year, PlayStation outsold them 3-1 on consoles. So it seems like Microsoft is looking at software sales as their bell cow, and I think it is their bell cow already, but they're kind of trying to double down on that from what it looks like, where they're going to have these games that are exclusive to Xbox now come to other platforms, and then that brings up questions like, are these games, future Xbox exclusives, are they going to come to other platforms on day one? Is there going to be a waiting period? And then the ultimate question that these rumors bring up is Xbox going to continue to sell a console in the future? So I don't know. My general thoughts are, it seems like Xbox is going a little bit away from having exclusives. It's still the question of, if you ask anyone what game do you want to play on another console from Xbox, it's going to be Halo for the most part. So if you're playing on Halo on PlayStation or a Nintendo Switch or something, that's going to be pretty crazy. And I would say pretty epic, and that would be like the top of the top I think people would request. So this brings up a whole lot of questions here. And actually Phil Spencer even came out after these rumors and said, hey, we're going to address some of this next week. So I don't know what they're going to tell us next week, but we should have some good information coming from Phil Spencer himself, about these rumors. So, and he basically, his statement was something like, hey, we're thinking about this stuff right now. So we're trying to work this out, and we're going to tell you as soon as we can know. So I don't know if some of this is hitting them by surprise, or if they're just upset that some information that is possibly true has gotten leaked and they're trying to change out their rollout for it or something. But a lot of Xbox rumors going on. Sounds like we're going to get some type of update from Phil Spencer this week, so I'm definitely going to keep you updated on that. And I don't know what to think here. I definitely think a lot of Xbox exclusives go to PC. So I kind of think of Xbox in my mind a little bit as a PC already. So, and PC games, there's a lot of consoles and devices coming out nowadays, like the Steam Deck, where you can play these games. So I don't know, the world. Well, I do know the world is ever changing, and it seems like Xbox wants to get their games on as many platforms as possible, especially if their main console is not selling particularly well. So I don't think it would hurt them to get these on other platforms, but it's just, what are the long-term ramifications of doing this, and will we see Sony follow suit completely? And we already do see Sony put exclusives on other platforms. So I think the way the future is going, you're just going to have your own choice of a box, whatever box you want to buy, and it's going to be able to play whatever console or game you want to buy, as long as you can pay the money for it or whatever. So I just think that's the way it's going. I don't think that's necessarily bad. I've never really gotten into the console war or love an exclusive side of things, and I do generally have both consoles, and that's definitely a luxury. But I think there's a million games. Even if you're only able to have one console, I think you could be a very avid video gamer. I think there's plenty of games on each console to satisfy anybody for the rest of their life almost. So I don't think there's a shortage of video games, and I don't think it's a bad option necessarily to have more options on where to play them and how to play them, and be able to play them exactly as you like. So I think that's a little bit of what Xbox is going through here, and I'm excited to see the more news on this. I haven't really been loving an Xbox exclusive for a long time besides Forza. That would be the biggest question for me here, and we've already seen the Forza Horizon games and other ones come to Steam and things like that, so you can play them on your Steam Deck or on your PC. So there are other ways to play those. There is a PC Game Pass that Xbox already offers, so some of this stuff is not too shocking, but it's going to be interesting to hear it all be official. So I'll keep you updated on the Xbox rumors. And then the next thing I want to talk about are some Nintendo Switch 2 rumors, which have been flooding the market every week. So we've had almost a new rumor to talk about every week. And the newest one for this is everyone's kind of thinking a direct could be this week or next week. That could still happen, but there could also be, now the rumors are saying there could be a March direct talking about this new console. So lots of talk going on around about this. I don't know what rumor has any merit to it. I don't know what's actually going to happen, but it does seem like we're going to get a new Switch console this year, and they have to tell us about it at some point. So I don't know if they would want to do their normal February direct, talk about the games for the early part of the year, and then once they have that plan out there, they come through in March, and maybe they give us some teaser at the end of the February direct saying, hey, we're going to have something really cool to tell you about in March that you want to hear about that explains the rest of the year and beyond. And then maybe they give us the console details or like something in March, and then the actual console will release in September, like everyone is saying. And all signs are pointing to basically like a Switch 2. It's just going to be an upgraded console. Seems like it'll have backwards compatibility. It seems like the game cartridge slot will still be there. It's going to be an LCD screen. And the screen's seemingly going to be bigger than the OLED screen right now. So an 8-inch screen is what they're talking about. Talking about a $399.99 US price tag, so $400. And that is seeming like the most popular rumor. The other option is if it will not actually happen this year, which would be kind of shocking, but I'm definitely tuned in. There's not a whole lot of Nintendo games past the summer that are slated to be released, so that definitely brings up the question of what's going on, and I think we're going to get some type of answers here in the next few weeks. So definitely got my ears to the streets for Nintendo rumors and thoughts, and I will definitely keep you updated here on the Dep Lewis Show about them as they come out. So that is the plan. So that is going to wrap up this midsection of the show this week, where I told you about all the happenings of the video game world in the last week. So we talked about the Sony State of Play for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and there's a demo for that game available now. We talked about the PS5 beta, enhancing the controller sound, the sound on the DualSense, and then also some share screen interaction enhancements. You can go play HellDivers 2 right now if you'd like to. You can go play Foamstars right now if you'd like to as well. And then in the upcoming week, if you're listening in real time, you can play Tomb Raider 1 through 3 Remastered, starring Lara Croft, and you can also play Mario vs. Donkey Kong. And right now, you can also play Elder Scrolls Castles if you are in the correct country and region. Then we talked about the to-be-decided release of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Just wanted to put that game in our minds and have it out there. And then we got into some of the Xbox rumors of Xbox games going to other platforms more often and maybe even simultaneous. And then we talked about some Nintendo Switch 2 rumors, which are ever present these days. So it seems like we're about to get some Nintendo information very soon, and the Dep Lewis Show is the best place to follow and listen to for that type of information. So, thank you for listening to this mid-section. Hopefully you enjoyed all the news and have some games in there that you're interested for. And that's going to wrap up the mid-section of the show this week. So we're going to take one final break. You're going to hear some more lovely break music. And then we're going to come back for the final section of the show, which is the miscellaneous talk section. And that's where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So we're going to get off the video game train for now for this Dep Lewis Show. We're going to switch to the miscellaneous talk after this break. Welcome back to the final section of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 66. This is the miscellaneous talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So the first thing I want to tell you about this week is a Kickstarter that I backed, and the Kickstarter officially came to a close. So this is basically just to make you aware of what's going on, and this author that I like, and his name is Wight, and his Kickstarter was called Animating Cradle, the Best-Selling Novels Come to Life. So with this Kickstarter, the goal was to create an animated adaptation of the Cradle series by Wight, partnering with legendary filmmaker Jay Oliva. So this Kickstarter closed out at the end, last week, and it ended with officially 8,224 backers, and they pledged 100 million. They wish $1,275,446 to help bring this project to life. The Kickstarter has come to a close and fully funded. They did not hit there was many stretch goals with this, but the amount they were trying to achieve was 1 million. And they added an additional perk late in the game to get over that 1 million hump. And this was a stretch goal reward they were saving for 3.6 million. And I guess they didn't realize they weren't going to get there and possibly already have this going in the chamber or in the works. And it's a new novel-length collection of Cradle stories. This is not a post-Waybound Cradle novel, but a collection of stories that take place before, during, and after the events of the Cradle series. So this was an option to select as an add-on with a $1 donation, and then pay for the ebook was $15, and the audiobook was $25, I think it was. So this is all just to say, go check out the Cradle series by Wight, and go read about Lyndon and his story to greatness. So this is just like a fantasy novel, a little bit akin to Dragon Ball Z, I guess you could say, where character has no powers and growing stronger over the time, saving the world, saving different people and scenarios and things like that, and just a really fun, enjoyable read of a series, and definitely one of my favorites. For this Kickstarter, I was just more of a fan, just being a fan of Wight. I wasn't necessarily going to back it because I'm not a huge show watcher, and this is creating an animated adaptation of Cradle, which I would like to see what the characters look like, but I just don't know if it would be something I'd be into watching. But then when he brought up the stretch goal for the new novel-length collection of Cradle stories, that's exactly what I would like from this series, since it's officially over. Some more stories in between, or about different characters, or different times, or whatever it may be. So pretty perfect. Definitely going to be worth $15 to get some additional Wight Cradle content, and I'll be on the lookout for that. But I don't think it's coming anytime soon. I believe that he will release this to the public, a month or whatever after the Kickstarter release is done. I think it's how it normally works. So you should be able to get this too if you did not back the Kickstarter. But go follow Wight. He's a really, really fun author and writes some really, really great stuff. So Wight Kickstarter, Animating Cradle Best-Selling Novels Come to Life, officially funded and done. So that's some good news. So now let's get into the worldwide world of sports and keep you up to date with my favorite teams across the world. We're going to start with the Carolina Panthers. So Panthers, I haven't had too much to say about them recently because there's not a lot going on. They've hired their GM and their coach, and it is the offseason. We're waiting for the draft where the Panthers don't have a first-round pick, and then waiting for next season where hopefully the Panthers can improve in some way. And the Panthers were getting joked at over the NFL awards. The host said that the only thing farther away from the Super Bowl than Taylor Swift in Japan were the Carolina Panthers. So a pretty great joke. And Dave Canales took note of it on Twitter, so hopefully he's putting that in his motivational bank and going to use it for the season, and hopefully it'll propel the Panthers to some wins. But I don't have much great to say about the Panthers these days. I saw a report saying that they are wanting to get a deal done with Frankie Louvu, and I think that should be a no-brainer. I just don't think the Panthers are going to come out of their pockets and pay Frankie Louvu. I think he's probably going to get some pretty lucrative offers elsewhere and possibly in some better environments and better teams. So I don't think the Panthers are going to pay to keep anybody or outbid anybody at this point, because I don't think that's been in their history. And I think it'd be sad because Frankie Louvu was definitely one of the bright spots of the year last year and still might be relatively unknown across the league. So this could be a perfect time to pay somebody. I don't think you're going to have to pay him the sun and the stars, but you're going to have to pay him something nice, and you could possibly get a little bit of a discount just for his little bit of unknownness. I know that's not the right way to say it, but I think this could be a good time to cash in on an asset that still has a lot of potential. So I don't know. I don't really expect the Panthers to make any smart moves in my negative mind these days. I'm just kind of more interested to see what happens and not get my hopes up for anything, because they've been let down a whole lot lately. And it's oftentimes I'm seeing my favorite players on the Panthers walk out the door. So just getting more accustomed to that over time and having to deal with it in more a business-like manner as a fan. And that's always sad. So I think it's something they need to change around. I've wanted them to pay Brian Burns. I think they should retain their talent. I've been saying that. They need to retain any talent they have, because they're not attracting any talent, and they've had some pretty good drafting, but then you're really just reliant on the draft to make your team successful, and that's a lot of pressure because the draft oftentimes is a crapshoot. So Carolina Panthers, hopefully we'll make some good offseason decisions, and I'm going to be very happy to report those here on the Dep Lewis Show. So for the rest of the football world, the Super Bowl is going on today, so it's the official last football game of the year. That's always very bittersweet because we're going to have to wait a long time for some football, and it's one of the best sports in the world and one of the most entertaining things to watch. But today we get the 49ers versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It's around 6 o'clock today, Eastern, if you're listening, if you're looking to watch, and I'm picking the Chiefs to win. I'm not going to pick against Patrick Mahomes, and I don't really care who wins in any way. I saw some people on Twitter rocking their CMC jerseys for the Panthers, so I would be happy for CMC, but either way, whoever wins this is not going to change the outcome of my life or my fandom or make me any happier or sadder. I just kind of hope it's a good game in general and hope it's an entertaining Super Bowl. So I'm happy for that. I'm going to be sad to see the football be over, but I can begin to look to next season, as you always do, as a Carolina Panthers fan. So shout out to the football, another great season, always entertaining, and just thanks to all the footballers out there. Really, really fun to watch. So let's get into some basketball talk. So let's talk about some Charlotte Hornets. So I'm a North Carolina resident, so they are my de facto number 2 team after the Atlanta Hawks, and I actually saw the Hornets play in person last week. So after the podcast last Sunday, there was a Sunday afternoon game, the Hornets versus the Pacers. It was at 6 o'clock, and I went to the game and saw some basketball, and it was pretty awesome. I haven't been to a Hornets game since the start of the season when they played the Hawks this year, so my second time in the Spectrum Center this season. And the Pacers won the game pretty easily, 115-99. I would say it wasn't even really that close. It was and no LaMelo Ball, and I got to see Halliburton ball out until about the midway of the third quarter, and they pulled him from the game to sit him and rest him, and they rested Miles Turner as well. So it basically was the Pascal Siakam show for the rest of the game, and he was very shockingly, he stood out on the court as being very good. So I knew Pascal Siakam was good from his Toronto days, but I just haven't seen him play in a while, and I've never seen him play in person, and he was definitely very impressive after, especially after seeing Halliburton. Halliburton was, you could tell, was the best player on the court, and he was extremely fun to watch, and he's one of my favorite players in the league, if not my favorite player in the league, besides anybody on the Hawks or the Hornets. So I was very glad to get to see Halliburton and crew in person, and I actually think I'm going to go see them tomorrow with a friend of the show, King Tut. It's going to be coming to town, and we're going to go see the Hornets play the Pacers tomorrow night, unless it's really raining like crazy, then he might not make the trip. But that's the plan for tomorrow, to go see some more basketball. So I'll have some more in-person basketball to tell you about next week, which is very cool. So I'm very lucky to be doing that. And the Hornets, the trade deadline was last week, so the Hornets made some moves, basically clearing roster spots and shipping people out of town that they either don't want to pay or aren't going to continue to pay or re-sign. So I think all these decisions were pretty smart in the vacuum of the Hornets not having a very successful season right now, and they have a couple really good young pieces, so they need to do everything they can to shed payroll, get young, and build up a young squad, as you should, through just hard work and all that kind of stuff. So I think this is some of the better moves, a little bit of addition by subtraction, hopefully, and we will see what happens. But PJ Washington got shipped out to Dallas, the Dallas Mavericks, to go play with Luka. So he's got to be pretty happy about that. Seems like a pretty great player to fit with Luka. And then Gordon Hayward got traded to the OKC Thunder. So they're trading for a veteran that can hopefully stay healthy and give them some playoff guidance and some minutes in the playoffs. So hopefully that would be the case for Gordon Hayward. And then the main guys that the Hornets got back were Grant Williams from the Mavs and Seth Curry as well. And Seth Curry was from a different trade, I think. But I think those are the two biggest pieces they got back, and I think they had a pretty successful night last night. The Hornets actually won a game last night. They were playing the Grizzlies. It was a pretty bad starting 10 starting 5 from both teams. A lot of teams missing their top dog and getting some new guys in the rotation and things like that, and two teams that aren't really contending. But nice to see the Hornets get a win with their revamped roster, and I think they're making all the right moves for the future. And they've also agreed to a buyout with Kyle Lowry, so that saga is over from that trade a couple weeks ago, and that was getting Terry Rozier to Miami. And yeah, I'm most likely going to go see the Hornets play the Pacers tomorrow night, and then Wednesday night I'm going to definitely go see them play the Hawks. And it's going to be a great week for basketball, so a whole lot of good stuff going on. And then as far as the Atlanta Hawks, I've been watching them on League Pass now, and they beat the 76ers on Friday night. I was watching that game before I got into some multiplayer shenanigans with friends, and the Hawks had a pretty good lead. I think it was 21 or 22 points at some point, and they almost blew it, but they were able to close it out at the end of the game and actually won, so that was nice. And then the Hawks won against the Rockets last night in Atlanta, and this one also got close towards the end, but the Hawks shut them down. So the Hawks have been stringing some wins together. They were on a 4-game streak. I think they lost one, and I think they're back on the 2-game streak, so doing pretty well going into the playoffs. Into the All-Star game and the midway of the season. They did not make any moves for the trade deadline. They stood pat. I guess that's how you say it. Stayed put. I don't know, but they didn't make any moves. So a lot of trade talk before the trade deadline, but nothing happened. And I am happy that DeJounte Murray is still on the team. So those are my thoughts on the Hawks, and I am very excited to get to see them in person again. And this time while they're playing a little bit better. So that'll be great to see. And the final thoughts of this week, the official team, my favorite team in the universe and the galaxy, is the Atlanta Braves. Not too much to say about them except for I want a Max Fried extension. I don't think we're going to see this unless we see it in the next couple weeks. The pitchers report in like a week or two. So it looks like we're just going to have Fried and then have to worry about his landing spot next year in the offseason. But hopefully he'll have a very successful season that will entice the Braves to want to pay him for the long term, because I think that is the right move. But Atlanta Braves basically just waiting on March 28th for the season to start. I can't wait. And then also the spring training season here for the team in Charlotte starts on April 2nd, so I'll be able to go watch some AAA ball, which I really enjoyed doing since I moved to North Carolina. It's been fun having that close by and gives me a little bit of an in-person baseball fix outside of going to see some Braves games or whatever. So I do think I'm going to be going to Atlanta for some games this year, and possibly I have a friend of the show, Pab, lives in Dallas, so I always have the opportunity to go out there and see some games too. So versus the Rangers, or go see Rangers games in general. The Braves aren't playing the Rangers in Texas this year, but they are playing the Rangers are coming to Atlanta in April. So just love the baseball season, one of the best times of the year. It's getting very, very close, and I can't wait for it. But in the meantime, I'm going to watch the Super Bowl and then get even more into the basketball in the meantime, and just loving the sport. So one of my favorite things, one of my favorite hobbies outside the video games. So that is going to wrap up the miscellaneous talk section of this show. So we talked about the Will Wight Kickstarter that has come to a close and fully funded for animating Cradle best-selling novels come to life. We talked about the Carolina Panthers, talked about the Super Bowl for a bit, and then we got into some basketball with the Charlotte Hornets and the Atlanta Hawks. And then finally we talked about the official team of the Dep Lewis Show, favorite team on the planet, in the galaxy, in the universe, the Atlanta Braves. So just thank you for listening to the show as you always do. That's going to wrap up the miscellaneous talk section, and in turn is going to wrap up the entire show, episode 66. Just thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your support. Thank you for anything you do for me, listening to this show or liking it or telling anybody about it or anything like that. Hopefully I'll just be getting some more new listeners over time, and that's the goal. So just thank you. It's very fun to do this each week. And I want to reiterate some promotional stuff from the beginning to hopefully help grow the podcast and everything I'm doing here on the internet as far as content. So if you could please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, tell a friend, email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Bus Route page. So basically anywhere podcasts are available. Clips are on YouTube and TikTok. Twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show is a great place to follow. And then the ultimate place to follow is patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show. And for $1 a month right now for the ground floor tier for the first 100 patrons only, with this tier you will gain access to an additional weekly podcast exclusive to Patreon called the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. This podcast releases midweek and is a great way to get additional content and support the show. It's basically a podcast without a plan, so I can just talk about anything I want to. I can search the internet and talk about it. It's a very rambly podcast. It's been very fun to do. I'm 13 episodes in, and it's usually around 20 minutes long, and just some midweek entertainment, let you know what I'm up to, let you know what's going on in the world that I think is interesting, and just hopefully some good enticement to go support me on the Patreon. So ground floor tier pricing will never change, and you will gain access to all Dep Lewis Show Patreon content always. So it's a investment for your entertainment future. So it's a really good price, $1 a month. You should be getting 4 free podcasts or 4 podcasts for that dollar, and it's for the first 100 patrons only. So please go check out the Patreon. It's a great website to listen to the main show, and then you can also get access to the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show, and there's also other videos and content I post on there sometimes for everybody. So please go check out what I'm doing on patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show. That would mean a whole lot to me. Just thank you for listening to the show as you always do. You're the best listeners in the world. It's really amazing to see people listening to the show, and I hope that can continue to grow, and hopefully you get some entertainment and some information and have some fun, and that is the main goal here. So just thank you for being a listener of the Dep Lewis Show. I'll be back next week for another episode as always. This has been episode 66, and I will see you next week for episode 67 of the Dep Lewis Show. Thank you as always.